Hey guys, nah, I'm just kidding. Thank you for supporting This Works For Us podcast. If you thought part one was great, wait till you see part two. Stay tuned.
What other questions do you guys have for us?
Yeah.
So, I guess how long into your marriage did you start having your children?
Let's see. Kate was born in 95, 4 years. Well, 4 years before Caleb came along. He said we lost 3 babies before that. And he pretty much came along after I decided, okay, that's, I'm kind of done. I'm gonna leave that alone. And then he came. So
You know what's so crazy? You know what's so crazy about that? About the losing the three children is that I really when we lost during that time of losing the 3, there was a point where I didn't know what to do as a dad, as a father, as a husband, because I couldn't explain what happened. You know, I couldn't, there was no Bible reference. There was nothing. The one thing that what I always went back on was, I know that in my single life that there were, well, one person that had a miss, and I said, you need to have an abortion. And I believe that was one of us losing that one. And then
you believe that? Because see, the enemy really did try to convince us, or that because of the abortions in our history, that we couldn't have kids.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that we couldn't have kids. I was saying because of us losing kids, losing the children, it was causing that. Not that we couldn't have kids, but the reason that we lost 3.
One. That's what you thought.
One, yeah. I was thinking that, especially after the second, I was like, man, it had to be because I lost one. I had a girl have an abortion, and then you had an abortion, and I don't know what the third one, but I just know it's at a point where on the third abortion, I looked at her. I think I was miscarriage. I'm sorry. I looked at her, and I had tears in my eyes, and she was on the table. And I said, Queen, we don't have to do this no more. And I say, yeah, I just remember saying that. And I forgot what else I said, but I know that she said, let's do it. Mm-hmm. So it must have been in 2. I don't want to try it unless let's do it. And that's what came.
I know for the first miscarriage and the third one, the second one was quick. Like found out I was pregnant, and then a week later, But the first time, and the third time, I was already like 12 weeks. Would have been in my 4th month. Mm. We had seen the heartbeat and everything, and after you get out of the first trimester, normally you're safe, right? Supposedly, And then, so when I had gone to an appointment, one of my regular appointments, there was no heartbeat. Yeah. So that it wasn't like I started having a miscarriage. It's like I'm going to an appointment, and then they're like, "There's no heartbeat." Mm. So that was how the first one went, and I'm trying to think. I ended up having to have, the procedure, the DNC. The third one, they wouldn't do a DNC, I guess because I had already had one. And I was also about the 12-week period, same thing. And instead of them keeping me to do a procedure, they sent me home and said that they sent me home and said, you have to wait for it to pass.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
And so we were just home waiting, waiting for something to happen. And then, he was devastated because he saw the heartbeat and everything too. And we thought we were out in the clear with that one. And then there was no heartbeat. And then it was just a sad situation because on that third one, after they sent me home, and then when they told me what to look for, it's like, okay, this is how it'll probably happen and stuff. And I just remember, we were watching TV, hanging around, and then it's like when it started to pass, I just remember screaming, and I don't really remember what happened after that.
Yeah, I think I had boys, because I remember we was in and I had the boys go get somebody, because we was staying in an apartment, like apartment building, and just remember that I was trying to get her where we need to
you
get her.
took me to the hospital, right?
Mm.
Yeah. But I think for us, a lot of the stuff that we went through, a lot of the painful things, it just kind of, even when we were doing bad, still the painful things would draw us close together.
Mm-hmm.
We would hold on to each other, and just kind of really talk about and share what we were going through, even if it didn't make sense to us. And that's one thing that I really like about our marriage. If you heard him say, I mean, both of us have an extensive sexual trauma background.
Mm.
And even before we married, we used to talk about that, about what we experienced. And for me personally, I think that that's one of the things that really keeps us close, because it's like a lot of people don't talk about things like that. They try to like push it under the rug and not deal with situations like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's baggage that if you don't deal with it, it's going to come out. It's going to come out in some form or fashion. But when you're able to talk about those things, and like, especially if there's something about the other person, it doesn't even have to be their behavior, but if there's something that's a trigger for you, or that sends you back to a certain place, or makes you feel a certain way, that you really can't deal with that, because it takes you back to some of that trauma. You have to be able to talk about that and explain, this is not you.
Right.
It's all about my past and what happened. And yeah, I know that was in my past, but anytime I get triggered, I'm back to my past. And so I don't need any triggers. And I certainly don't need you providing triggers for me. Mm-hmm. For me personally, one of the things that I just feel like, maybe it's for everybody, but I'm a female, so I can only say I'm a female. I feel like when you're molested a lot, that you don't get a choice in a lot of things. Mm-hmm. So one of the things early on in our marriage, he would be trying to tell me things. Well, why don't you do this? I want you to do this. And it's like, you don't get to talk for me. You don't get to talk for me. You don't get to make decisions for me. I am me. And that is just like a thing for me, because I feel like my choice was taken away.
Yeah. So
he knows that's something that will send me over, even on a little small thing. Like, don't say, don't speak for me. because I can speak for myself. I don't care what it is. Don't take my choices. And so I've learned how to tone that down because I understand that he's not coming from that place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's a trigger for me. So it's like we have to work that thing out. And when I am over the top, I gotta back myself up and say, "You just been triggered. Let it go. He didn't mean it like that. It wasn't like that. But things like that. Those are the kinds of things that can tear a marriage up.
Yeah.
If you don't get honest about what's really going on and talk about those things, and then learn how you're going to deal with those things when they come up, because they will come up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for us, we went to a lot of counseling for each other, and we supported one another in our efforts to address those issues. And being that, for both of us to be able to talk open, and
Mm-hmm.
even for me as to address it, and even address it on my side of the family, and just believing God. God, you are the healer. If I open up this closet, and let the skeletons out, I know you're able to heal everybody that's going to be broken. Because I know, right? And she was the one that actually kind of opened it up to me, because I remember, with my mother, she's gone to be with the Lord now, but I was just, as the oldest, I was just having issues with my mother, didn't really know my father, and well, actually, me and my mother had been getting along, but still, there was a part of me that didn't quite respect me the way I needed to. I wasn't bad mouthing her, disrespect like that. I felt a certain way about her, being that I was the oldest. I got to see the things she did, and I didn't have no clarity. I didn't have no didn't have no understanding of why she did what she did. But once I opened up that closet, though, she brought it to my attention. She just said, "Daddy, you talk to your mother like she's." And I got offended with her. And then I thought about what she was saying, and that had me crying. Now,
Mm-hmm.
you'll understand that this brother cries quite a bit.
He cries a lot.
After getting saved, after getting saved, I cry like on the drop of a dime. So, but hey, crying is good for the brothers.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And so when she told me that, I remember when she said that, and I thought about that, and then just broke and started crying. And I say, I need to get this off of me. And what it was, stuff that happened to me when I was a boy. So I went and I asked my mother, my sister, I called them in. And I remember telling my mother, and the look on her face was just like, wow, she couldn't believe that. But my sister reached over and touched me on my leg and said, brother, I've been waiting for somebody to say something for all these years. And me opening up that closet, giving it to God and trusting that He was going to be the one to heal all of that. He actually did. Uh, that was the beginning part. And so for us, we're real candid, and me, I'm very transparent as far as what I've been through, because see, I know that I'm not the only man that have gone through that. And I know that there are other men of God and men that probably may not have no relationship with God that have been affected by their childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Never say anything. And the thing that I want to share with those brothers is that God is the healer.
Yes.
He all you do is bring it to him and he will fix it. He will clean it up. He will restore, do all of that. But there has to be that initial step of just trusting. And with me and my queen, you know, we've I do what I love is that we can be on one accord and we can muster through anything, even at the point of even talking about death of our parents. Because there was one point, I remember one time I was telling her, I was sharing with her, I said, you know what? We've been through a lot, but we have not been through the loss of our parents. And I say, I know that's coming. And
It came.
it came. But we didn't freak out because God was already preparing us in advance for things like that to happen. And so,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I love, you know, I just love what we have here because we tap into each other. We allow God to use us to be a blessing for him. And so, you know, hey, it's all good.
Well, quite a journey.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
So obviously you ended up having children in that 15-year period. So what was the effect on the children, you know, during that time frame, right? And then now for them to see you at this point, you know, was there a healing process for them as well? Because you're two different, you turned a new leaf, right? You guys were in a space where you were in turmoil all the time, and now you've turned a new leaf and you're happy. And what were some of the effects that you've seen with the children?
You know,
Well, this is one thing that we probably won't agree on. We might. I'm not really sure because on the one hand, I would like to think that it really didn't affect them.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that I said that what we went through kind of didn't affect them because we always tried not to like argue or anything. Caleb blessed me just like one day he just said out of his mouth that he was arguing with, you know, Lonnie's mom, and he told her, we can't be doing this, you know, arguing in front of her because that's not good. I have never heard my parents arguing.
Mm.
And so when he said that, that's where his head is. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew that. So I don't know how much it affected them. But then our kids went through some stuff. Our kids took us through some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know where that stuff came from. They had some other influences and things like that. I don't know if it was a result of what we were going through. You know, but I will say this, and this is the part that I say we'll probably disagree on. We have this thing. I always thought he was too hard on the boys.
Mm.
You know, I wanted him to be able to discipline, but Mama Bear would come out.
you didn't want me to discipline.
No, I did, but it was be like, no, it's time to stop now. And it's like, if you ain't stopping, you need to stop, because I didn't want to create that division between us with the kids. But it's like, if you don't trying to tell you, You need to stop.
So
if he stopped or whatever, he feels like part of the problem with the kids was that he couldn't discipline the way he needed to.
Mm.
But I couldn't deal with that. You know, I still can't even, the thought of it, because it's like,
see,
I don't care. I don't care. I still believe what I believe. You still believe what you believe. And now we just tell the kids, whatever happens, if you messed up, go to counseling, okay? Because we don't know. But still, when I think back to what was going on, I'm like, no. If we had to do that today, I would still do the same thing and be like, you can't be doing that up in here, because I ain't going to jail. No.
okay,
No.
okay. So
that's how I felt. Now he said it wasn't that bad, but I think it was that bad.
No, it was bad in the sense of, first let me go back about us, the way we treated one another. That, for me, it was important. It's important that my son never see us at each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's important for our sons to always see me loving on her. So we would kiss and do all kind of crazy stuff, but they would always see me cuddling and close to her. If we ever, we used to have sit at the table and talk. They have like family meetings. I would things I would do. I would pray for them, go and talk to them before they go to bed, or while they're in bed. I would go tuck them in bed and tell them pray for them, and just little things, especially. And then when she was going through her moment of depression, they saw me take care of her.
Mm-hmm.
They would always hear me say, you always take care of your mother. Always take care of your. I wasn't trying to I didn't worry about me. It was always the mother.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me. You don't do your mother like that. I think for our boys, it was the mere fact that when they were growing up, we didn't have a support system. It was just her and I. We couldn't call grandma. We couldn't call auntie to drop the kids off. It was her and I. And then for older boys, if we left our younger boys with them, then we had to worry about whether or not all the boys were going to be doing stuff that they didn't need to be doing, which they were. They were doing their thing. And so we really, it was hard. And then in the neighborhood, it was all single parents. Mostly everybody was single parents. So our kids, when they were playing, whatever they experienced in those other households, I'm pretty sure
they had more freedom. They wanted the freedom that their friends had.
Mm-hmm.
Not realizing so much that freedom was because the parent was so busy working that they didn't have time to deal with them. So they got to do things that they didn't get to do because we were saying no.
But what was so crazy was that their friends envied them.
Right.
They envied them because they had two parents.
Yeah.
And anytime that their friends were in a bind, they would always, hey Dad, can my friend come and spend the night? Because they run, whatever. They having problems at the house. No problem. Come on. But it got to a point where, we kind of the kids with being out there and seeing all of that, what they was involved into a lot of stuff, and then when they got hurt by the church, that just spiraled everything, because that's where they grew up. They grew up in the church. So you figure church is supposed to be a safe place.
Yeah.
So for them, it was hard. It was hard on mainly Caleb. Simeon was the baby, uh, but he got to see his siblings, and so he took in a lot of the hurt, you know, especially when his mom when my queen was going through her bout of depression. That was Simeon was the one that always was close to her, and Caleb was the one. He was the one that always tried to help. But in the discipline was the issue because I was straight, you know, then if you're in trouble, butt whipping, we doing it. And she was but I would talk before whipping. I didn't whip, then talk. I would talk before you get your whip.
Not during at all.
No, not during. You need to keep facing that way. Don't try to look and see when I'm gonna hit you. Because then you're gonna get hurt. But yeah, and it was for us, it was just I felt that she was kind of undermining my position as a father. And the story that I wanted her to see that kind of give her that picture was The King and I. Did you ever see that movie, The King and I, with Yul Brynner?
I saw the play
I
a
didn't
long
see
time
it.
ago.
I didn't see it.
Well, if you get a chance, watch that. You'll see what I don't even have to tell you the punchline. You'll see it, and you see that's what happened. That's what Brother Barnes was talking about right there. But other than that, man, it's just that for our kids, they went through much, but they saw our commitment, because even I think in both my two youngest ones, they'll say, "Daddy, y'all are rare." It's not a lot of people that do what y'all do, and even in their relationship, they don't know nothing other than what we've the example that we set.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as how they treat their girlfriend, how they treat their wife, there are other influences, but they've never seen me raise my voice at her, because I've never raised my voice, probably one time, if any. I've never put my hand on her. I've never cursed her out.
Squeeze my nose. You hurt me one time. Really
I do
bad.
remember that. I do.
Yeah, you did.
I squeezed her nose and hurt her.
You did like that. And you squeezed my nose real hard. Made me cry.
Yeah. Her nose was thin. Her nose was tender, but I made her cry. And when I made her cry, that hurt me. I was like, oh. But then I also knew I made her mad, boy. She had that look in her eye. I said, "Oh Lord, another exorcist moment." But yeah, for me, it's all about being the example, and that's I love being a dad. There's nothing I can say other than, for our boys, they've been given. I think they've been given a real deal, and
sometimes he's it's usually the mom that will be like coddling the kids. This one right here. Sometimes I'll be like, babe, if it look like a duck, talk like a duck, you know, quack like a duck. I'm telling you, they did, whatever. He'll be like, I got to see proof. Like, I don't need no proof.
Right.
I don't need proof, you know, and he'll be like, I'll be like, okay, that's it, done, out. And he's like, no, just calm down. Just calm down. See, and he'll give me some reason that he can still exercise all this gentleness and patience and long suffering with these kids, grown men, I should say. So I blame everything on him.
But
it's like what I couldn't do when they were young, now he does.
Now
that they grown.
But,
and I'm just like, I want my time, my house, everything. I want it all back. You know?
The thing I used to tell her, I say, Queen, if you don't let me discipline them now, you will have to deal with it when they're older.
I'm trying to think of something that I really deal with that your discipline would have helped.
Well,
they don't disrespect me. They don't.
No, they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that.
They, you know.
But when you talking about, maybe they doing that, and I'm like, okay, let's give them a chance. So I'm having to come to their defense. But I'm having to come to their defense because, well, you wouldn't let me take care of it back then. So now, here we are. And you're not going to take care of it. So I got to take care of it. So, plus, the thing is that when, I think when one of our boys was getting into serious trouble, I remember going to Pastor and Pastor said, I said, Pastor, how do you tough love? I say, because that's where I'm at right now. Want to go upside some head? Well, you know. He said, love him.
Yeah.
Now, when I left the church, when he said that, I sat there and I thought about that. I said, love him. And I could not raise my voice. I could not do what I had wanted to do. Mm-hmm. It's almost like the love of God. It's like I couldn't. And even now, you know, I'm so tuned, so mellow as far as when I'm having to deal with them.
See, he hadn't quite tapped into that. I was already tapped into that. He wasn't tapped into that back then, you know. And so I was in full bloom on that aspect. And that's why I was, as far as, you know, just, showing the love. It's like, okay, that's enough. Let's just, you know.
Now I'm thinking that the reason she was like that because she was traumatized by the way she was disciplined by her father. Mm. So, you know,
that could have something to do.
Yeah, that wasn't my experience. All I knew was that, okay, I do know that busting behind does get some results and exercising does get some results. Mm-hmm. On the same note, she wasn't there when I used to whip them. She would just hear it. Mm. Being that she heard it, she come flying up the stairs like, you know, in the door. Get your hand off my door.
I didn't say that. I never said that, and you know I did. I did not. I would come up there and just be like,
oh, she'd say, "What you doing?" And I'm saying, "What you doing up there? I'm whipping your kid." You whipping them too hard. I'm like, and then if like there was one, I was whipping my boy, and I had this little old yardstick. The yardstick
It
broke.
was not a yardstick. It was a little paddle. And that
And it
paddle
broke.
That
And
was
see-
it.
And look,
I was about to kill him. It's like,
see, that
Oh,
look
we're-
that you had on your face was the same look she had.
we're done with that. We're done now. It's wood. It broke. We're okay.
I'm the one holding the wood. I know how it felt. And
I
when
don't
I hit
care.
that boy, she called my mother. My mother got on the phone. I was like, oh Lord. I told my mom, I said, Mom, look,
I said, I'll call CPS on you myself.
yeah,
I will call them on you myself. if
call
you
it
do
Johnny
again.
Law. Johnny Law. I say, Ma, I am the father of this household, dad of this household. I'm not hurting these boys. Yeah, I don't want to have to call the police. And I was like, ooh, y'all black folk.
Like, well, if you don't want them called, you just need to do what you need to do. Okay, because I'm telling you how it's gonna go down. I'm telling you.
Now, it's so crazy is that when we was having problems with our boys, when we had to go to the police wanted us to whip our kids. They were like, Mr. Barnes, if you whip them, then how they say, if you whip them and somebody should call the cops, we'll just come out, we ain't gonna do anything. I say, see, they don't care you whip them kids.
Free game. That was free game. That was a get out of jail card there.
That's it. They understood. They understood where we was coming from.
All right, I don't want to talk about that no more because
All right.
I don't want to have to be mad at him tonight. So.
You mad at me?
So if you had to give one piece of wisdom or advice to married couples, young, newly married, what would that be?
Only one, huh?
No, I mean share what
you
all
think.
the advice.
The first thing that I would say would be that, like I was saying earlier, marriage has more to do, in my opinion, it has more to do with your own personal relationship with God than it does the person.
Mhm.
Because there's never going to be a perfect person. I'm not, he's not. Like T.D. Jakes, I think it was, they said marriage is unnatural for two people to come together. It's like, so you have to, it's a God thing. And if you don't allow God to work it out, I just don't see how anybody's marriage can truly be successful.
Mhm.
Without God being the one who calls the shots. And it's about acknowledging where you really are with God. Because I'd be wanting to leave all the time. That one time he said I was so close to leaving, one time I was going to leave the very next morning. I had cleaned out the car so that I could pack it the next morning and drive to Arkansas. I wasn't going to get a divorce. I was just leaving.
Mhm.
It was the night that our church that we were going to at the time had the Christmas banquet. We had already bought tickets for it. The only reason that I went was because I felt like I shouldn't leave the church without saying goodbye to the pastors.
Mhm.
Because I had made up my mind. I'm out in the morning. I'm out. I'm packing up myself, these kids. We're out. He didn't even know it. I hadn't told him. I was just gonna leave. So when I got to the banquet that night, I found the pastor's wife, and it was all God. I give credit to God. When I told her, I said, I just came, I went up to her. I said, I just wanted to come tonight because I wanted to tell you bye. She said, bye, where are you going? And I said, I'm going home. I'm leaving tomorrow morning. She said, home where? I said, home to Arkansas. And I promise you, and this is what I always say, I can't think of any other words, short of I'll murder your kids or something like that, but just like logical words. Can't think of anything anybody could have said to me to keep me here, except for what came out of her mouth. She looked me in my face and she said, if you have any Jesus in you, you're not going anywhere. Goodbye. And she walked off. So then I'm like, so if I leave, what I'm saying is I have no Jesus. I can say a lot of stuff, but I can never say that. I have no Jesus. So it put me in a position where I could not leave. But that she could have said anything else. It wouldn't have caused me to, I would have been like, yeah, okay, I'm still out, I'm gone. But to say those words to me, that was the only thing to keep me, because it's a matter of acknowledging God in your own personal life and his power and what he can do. And usually, like I told you my story, we think it's the other person that needs to be transformed when it's actually us. So that would be the first thing. But the other thing, I did want to share something else just about me personally. And I think that more than what we know, women will enter a marriage with a lot of baggage that they may not acknowledge. And what I realized after we got married, with all the trauma that I had before we got married, I was always, the only thing I ever wanted was for someone to love me. That's what I thought I wanted. So I would date guys and just be so head over heels in love, but nobody chose me. They didn't choose me for whatever reason. They break up with me. I'm like ready to give my whole life, and my life given to them was never good enough. So by the time he came along with, yeah, we're going to get married, and then God chose me, he's the one and all of that. But we get married, and yeah, there's not going to be any divorce or whatever. That's what we said. We're working on it. But I realized years later that how I really entered that marriage in my heart was that I expected him to leave like every other guy had done. No matter what he said, he would be like, I love you. I'm never going to leave you. I'm in it. I'm like, I know. And I think that part of me, maybe I was even meaner, because it was almost like, let's just go and get it over with. Because I know you're going to leave like the rest of us.
Yeah.
And I believe that I really put him through some stuff, not trying, not on purpose. That's the word I'm trying, not purposely. I didn't set out going, I'm gonna put him through and, see if he leaves. It was never like that, but I just think the underlying baggage in me was pushing him away all the time.
Yeah.
But the more I pushed, the more he clung to me.
You say he ain't going nowhere.
And eventually, I don't know how long it took, but eventually, when I realized he really wasn't going to leave me, and I began to trust him, that's what made a big difference too. And that may have all been after, the meeting with God. I don't even know when it happened, but I just realized that. And I say that for two reasons. That a young wife should examine to see what she really, is thinking about her husband. Do you really expect him to be with you? Or are you trying to push him away? or what's going on if you guys are not getting along, kind of deal. But I also say that for the guy, if you really are in it and you really love her, sometimes you may just have to love her through some mess, love her through some baggage until she can build that kind of trust up that you really won't abandon her. Because my abandonment issues didn't just stem from the relationships that I had with guys. I was always trying to replace my dad, because my dad died when I was 10. And I was the baby and I was his baby. And he died, and so I was always just trying to get that back, and it just never was happening. And then it probably wouldn't have happened with us if he had given up, because it took a long time for me to trust him with my true heart. It was like, yeah, we can get married and we can do all of this. We can get married, we can have kids, we can build a life. But it's that's not what makes a marriage. It's the marriage is the relationship, and that's work. That doesn't just come. That is work, work, and work some more. We still work.
Absolutely.
On our anniversary, it was so funny. Our anniversary was 2 weeks ago, 30th, November 30th. Started out good. We were really excited when we woke up. Probably by 10 o'clock. Intense fellowship. We just got on a conversation that we know. Anytime we get on that conversation, that's ground. We just should have stopped right there, But and the next thing I know, he was like, okay, well, where are we going to go? And I remember looking at him saying, I don't want to go anywhere with you. And I was serious. But then it's like, okay, well, the enemy wins.
Yeah.
It's like, in lieu of all his health scares and everything over the summer, it's like we had to decide on our anniversary. Okay, it's not going to be like, this is not going to be one of those lovey-dovey. So what we chose was, you know what? We're going to be grateful that you're here and that we're still together and that we are still happily married, even though in this moment, we're not having a good moment here today. We're not even having a good day, but we are still happily married. We're still grateful, and some days I'll tell a wife what my best friend told me. One of the best things she told me, even in things that he does when I'm just all up in the air, and frustrated. And she said, what you have to learn to do, you're not his mom, first of all. And what you have to learn how to do is find your place of peace. When he's made a decision, or he's doing whatever he wants to do as a person that you cannot control what he does, you have to find your own place of peace. So that's what I do now. It's like some situation, I just start talking to myself, okay, you gotta find your place of peace.
Yeah.
It's really getting on my nerve. Find your place of peace. Some certain things, I tell certain things that he does, he's always going to do something that I don't like. I'm sure I do plenty that he doesn't like. This is a good one, though, that I tell young women. Things like the house, cleaning up and things like that, the thing that drives you crazy, it's not driving him crazy. If it's not bothering him, what you have to decide is it bothering you enough
That's it.
that you want to do it? And you will find, I find that when I think about whether I want to do it or not, If he's not going to do it, I can let a lot of stuff go. I can step over stuff just like him. And when I can no longer step over it or, stand it, and it's still not bothering him, that's my cue. You do it.
Yes.
It's not worth the fight. It's not. Just do it. Keep it moving.
That's the thing I think I learned is pick and choose your battles, right? Yeah. Like, is it worth it? Is it worth even having a discussion about this one little? I know it is not. I'm going to move on from here. So
and then let it go.
Yeah, for me, the thing I would share with sort of like the same thing she said is that relationship with God has to be intact. I would say definitely do marriage counseling if you have access to that. Through a spiritual advisor, your pastor, or whoever you feel is your spiritual head. No, we didn't do that. But what I'm saying is that as a young couple,
Yeah.
you have that if you have access. We didn't have that access, but for me, my spiritual advisor was God, the Holy Bible, because like I said, I didn't have nobody to look at to give me an example of what I'm supposed to be like. So for me, it was more so my love for God. Yeah, and that's going to be important because you have marriages. People can be married for a long time, but are just there for the kid.
Yeah.
Once the kids are gone, they out.
Yeah.
And that's that is what it is. I mean, you see that a lot now with older couples. But you have those that say, no, we in it all the way to the end. And for the men, I would say is to find brothers that are doing it, that are walking this thing out. For the young ladies, I would say find sisters that are doing it and walking this thing out and glean from them, glean from the examples that you have. Because believe it or not, people that have been in it for a long time would love to share, would love to give you what they've learned. And then you'll know as a young person whether that's from God or not too, especially if you're tapped in, because everything will go right back to God. Everything will lead right back to God. God was the reason. God was the one, So for me, it's almost like making sure you have having your own personal relationship with God correct, and then and let Him lead you and guide you, or let the Holy Spirit lead you and guide you in your relationship.
Yeah.
And then take everything that you learn, take everything that you experience, and just use it as a learning lesson to move forward. Because everything that we've gone through has made us who we are today.
Yeah.
And then also be open. Open with your spouse. Be open with your spouse. Because they're your best friend. They're your partner, your lover, chick on the side, brother on the side, all of that.
My boyfriend.
Boyfriend, brother on the side, chick on the side. They're everything to you. And so, I mean, it's so crazy. Like right now, I love just talking with her. There used to be a time it was all about loving her. I just want, let's go for it. And then they got to a point where, man, I just want to hear how your day went. And then now it's just, we just sit, we could be sitting in here and not saying nothing to one another. I'm either listening to music. Most likely, I love jazz, listen to music, or we listen to worship, and we just sitting here into our own thing, and we just being in the company of one another, and that's okay, and that's peaceful. Sometimes we can have our boys over, and we all laughing, love it. Our grandkids loving it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let's go ride. Let's get out the house. We go to church. We working, and we're working together in the same thing. Like say we work hospitality, and just knowing that we're working together.
Mm-hmm.
Love it because we just flow. There's a flow for us. When we're working with kids. So to me, it's almost like really embracing your spouse and just try, because you're gonna learn something new about them as your relationship grows. I'm learning things about her, and I'm saying, wow, I never knew that about you.
But people change too. That's the other thing.
That's
As
right.
you get older,
Yeah.
you change. Matter of fact, we've almost done a complete opposite. A lot of stuff opposite. When we first met, he used to tell me, what did you used to tell me? You filthy. That's what he would tell me, you filthy. Because look, this brother want to see vacuum cleaner marks in the rug. He just wanted everything looking, and I'm like, I like my house to look lived in. I live here. Why would my house look like that? I have no desire whatsoever for my house to look like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm just like, could you put something up sometime, please? You know, it's like that.
I like the house lived in.
I know you like the house lived in. So things like that. I did want to say one other thing too that I think is important that a young wife should know. Because I think more women than men might enter into a marriage expecting that your spouse is responsible for your happiness, which that is just not that, it's not true. And if there's that expectation, I think that person's never going to be happy.
Right.
Because another person can't. They just can't make you happy. I try to teach our kids, make yourself happy.
Mm-hmm.
Do for yourself, and anything else is icing on the cake. It's like, I don't wait for him to plan my birthday. I don't wait for him to plan Christmas, Mother's Day. If there's something that I want or something that I want to do, I plan it.
Yeah.
Or I'll ask, hey, did you have anything planned? Because if not, I got this,
Yeah.
And I make sure that whatever kind of day I want to have, I'm going to have that day. I tell my kids, even for our grandkids, if you're giving a party, you buy for your kids. Don't expect other people. I mean, it's good if you're giving them a party, you buy them enough presents, you make the party what you want.
Yeah.
If anybody else brings something, that's icing on the cake.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be frustrated because you just went and spent all this money and they didn't get no presents.
Yeah.
You bought the presents.
Yeah.
You just want people to come and enjoy and celebrate with you, And so I just wanted to throw that in there because I don't think that I knew that when I first got married. I think I learned that at our former church. That was a new concept when I heard it. But when I heard it, I was like, hey, that works for me. That just makes sense. I know what I want. I know what I like. And it's not a problem. If it's frustrating for him to have to go out and shop or do whatever, I'll go buy something and say, hey, babe, this is what you bought me. And for years now, years, I probably 20 years at least. My Christmas present every year is this. I get to do Christmas how I want to do Christmas. I get to buy the presents that I want for whoever I want and spend the way I want. I also do the money, okay? So I don't go too crazy, but my gift is that he doesn't come and say, how much did that cost? What'd you buy it for? I get to do Christmas, you know, and if I happen upon something that I want myself, I can buy it and say, hey, look at what you bought for me. Yeah. But other than that, I love to just, bless the kids, bless the grandkids, bless whoever I bless and say it's from us. Yeah. And that's just the best gift for me. I usually don't have anything under the tree. I'm usually so okay with that because I'm so happy, So
I get that.
Well, I can say that you both have blessed us as well as others with your experience and the knowledge and maturity and the growth that you guys have experienced on these 32 years and counting.
Yes.
So that is, it's rare nowadays because you don't, run into too many, marriages that's lasting that long and stuff. So to see and hear this going on, obviously it's a breath of fresh air. So with that being said, you got something else?
Oh, the one thing also is to keep the marriage spicy.
Yeah.
That is, I'm serious.
32 years in, baby, keeping it spicy.
You got to keep. I don't care how old you get in the marriage. Come here, girl. Let me take you.
I'm 100% in agreement with that.
Keep it spicy.
Yeah.
Definitely. No worries, kids. Spicy won't take as long as they get older.
I didn't get that.
Okay, good.
That's the inside joke there.
Well, we definitely appreciate you guys, taking time out to spend with us on this show. Again, you blessed us, and I'm quite sure when we release this, there will be others blessed by it. So again, thank you.
Thank you so much,
Mr. and Mrs. Connie and Victor Barnes. Thank you for joining our show.
Thank you very much.
For having
it's been a blessing to share with you, and I know that what you're doing is great, and it's going to be it's blessing already. People that that you don't even know what you're doing, and it's very much needed, so people can see, and you all being an example also.
Yeah, we're going to be passing that baton to you guys.
Yes.
Hey, we appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So again, for our viewers, please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching This Works For Us.
All right. Love you.
All right. Love you.
Love you too.
What's up, podcast family? We just want to say thank you for tuning in, watching our episodes. We pray that what we are saying is a blessing to you. God placed it on our hearts to share with other married folks and soon to be married folks. So again, we just pray that it's blessing you.
And stay tuned for the next video. Again, we want to thank you. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, thank you for supporting This Works For Us podcast.